The encounter. The vast emptiness of Sector 47 shimmered with cosmic radiation as the Novan exploration vessel Eternal Seeker glided silently through the void. Its crystalline hull captured and refracted starlight, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that had earned the Novans their reputation as the galaxy's most beautiful spacefarers. High Commander Vela stood on the observation deck, her translucent skin glowing with bioluminescent patterns that reflected her calm state of mind. The Novans had explored thousands of star systems in their 3 centuries of interstellar travel, cataloging worlds, studying stellar phenomena, and occasionally making contact with other spacefaring species. Their mission had always been one of peaceful discovery. High Commander, came the melodic voice of Navigation Officer Trill. Sensors have detected an anomaly at coordinates 372 to 500 and 91084. Vela's skin patterns shifted to a questioning blue. Specifications. Unknown, Commander. It appears to be a vessel, but of unfamiliar design. It does not match any known configuration in our database. This was unusual. The Novan Confederation had extensive records of all 17 known spacefaring civilizations. An unidentified ship meant either a species making its first venture into deep space or one that had deliberately avoided contact. Forward approach, minimal propulsion. Activate translation matrices and prepare greeting protocols, Vela ordered, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of curiosity among her kind. The Eternal Seeker altered course, its drive emitting only the faintest energy signature as it moved toward the coordinates. On the main viewer, the unknown vessel gradually came into focus. Vela felt her skin patterns involuntarily shift to alarmed yellow. The ship was unlike anything in Novan records. Where Novan vessels were organic and flowing in design, this ship was angular and dark. Its hull was matte black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making it difficult to gauge its true size. Most disturbing were the visible signs of damage, scorched sections, and what appeared to be hastily repaired breaches. Life signs? Vela asked, struggling to maintain her commander's composure. Affirmative, responded Science Officer Lumen. Carbon-based, approximately 300 individuals. Internal atmosphere suggests oxygen breathers. Their power signature is unusual. Primarily fusion-based, but with elements our sensors cannot identify. They've detected us, Trill announced. The vessel is changing orientation, but not approaching. Vela considered her options. Novan protocol for unknown species was clear. Establish communication, offer friendship, share knowledge. But something about this vessel triggered a primitive caution in her mind. Open channels across all common frequencies, she decided. Send standard greeting package. For several tense moments, there was no response. Then the communications array chimed. Incoming transmission, announced Communications Officer Zeph. Audio and visual. Their translation algorithm is attempting to interpret our language. On screen, Vela ordered. The holographic display flickered, and an image formed. The bridge crew collectively drew back. The being on the screen was Beichtel, with only 2 eyes set in a flat face. Its body was covered in some kind of synthetic material, dark gray with red accents and unfamiliar symbols on the chest area. Its skin was a pale color that Novans associated with illness. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the United Earth Force vessel Cerberus. The being spoke, its voice translated into the musical tones of Novan speech. We acknowledge your greeting. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Vela stepped forward, her skin deliberately shifting to calm green. I am High Commander Vela of the Novan Confederation exploration vessel Eternal Seeker. We are peaceful explorers charting this region of space. We extend friendship and offer cultural exchange, as is our way. The being, Captain Chen, studied her with an intensity that made Vela uncomfortable. Its face remained largely immobile, making its emotional state impossible to read. Peaceful intentions acknowledge. Chen finally responded. We are on patrol in this sector. Your presence was unexpected. Patrol. The concept was foreign to Novan explorers. They had no territories to patrol, no borders to defend. This sector was charted as uninhabited in our databases, Vila explained. We did not realize it was claimed territory. Unclaimed but monitored, Chen corrected. A buffer zone between Earth space and the Kritari Dominion. Science Officer Lumen approached Vila, speaking quietly. Commander, our records show no species called Earth or Kritari. This suggests they operate in regions we have not explored, or that they have deliberately remained unknown to us. Vela replied softly before addressing Chen again. Captain, we have no record of either human or Kritari civilizations in our extensive databases. This suggests we have much to learn from each other. Would you be amenable to a cultural exchange? Chen's face moved slightly in what their translation matrix suggested might be a gesture of agreement. We would be interested in such an exchange, though I must consult with Fleet Command regarding protocols for new species contact. Of course, while you consult your authorities, perhaps we could share basic information. Acceptable, Chen replied. Sending data packet now. As the human transmission came through, Science Officer Lumen began analyzing it immediately. What they found shocked the entire bridge crew. Commander, Lumen reported, voice wavering with disbelief. Their vessel. It's a warship. Explain, Vela demanded, her skin darkening with concern. The Cerberus is designated as a heavy cruiser. It carries multiple weapon systems, energy-based and kinetic, defensive shields, and armor plating. The damage we observed indicates recent combat. According to this data, this is merely one vessel in something called the Fifth Fleet, which contains dozens of similar ships. Vela struggled to comprehend this information. In 3 centuries of space exploration, the Novans had never encountered a civilization that built dedicated warships. Defense systems, yes, all spacefaring races needed protection from natural hazards and the occasional hostile wildlife on unexplored worlds. But fleets of vessels designed primarily for combat. The concept was almost incomprehensible. There's more, Lumen continued. References to multiple conflicts with entities called the Kritari and Shard Collective. These humans have been fighting wars across dozens of star systems for nearly a century. The bridge fell silent. The Novans had no concept of interstellar warfare. Disagreements between civilizations were settled through negotiation, mediation, or, in extreme cases, isolation. Commander, Communications Officer Zeph interrupted the silence. Captain Chen is requesting to speak again. Vela composed herself, willing her skin patterns back to a diplomatic green. On screen, Chen's image reappeared. Hi, Commander Vela, I have received authorization for limited cultural exchange. We would like to invite you and a small delegation aboard the Cerberus. This request sent ripples of anxiety through Vela's skin. Board a warship. Every instinct warned against this, yet diplomacy demanded courage. We would be honored, Captain Chen. When would this meeting take place? At your convenience. We have adjusted our environmental systems to match the specifications you shared. A delegation of 5 would be appropriate. After the transmission ended, First Officer Kiran approached Vela. Commander, is this wise? We know nothing about these humans or their intentions, which is precisely why we must meet them, Vela replied. Fear of the unknown leads to misunderstanding. And misunderstanding, it seems, may lead to things these humans call war. I will not have the Novan Confederation's first interaction with this species be tainted by fear. But their ship, their history. So just caution, yes, but not retreat. Vela's skin rippled with determination. Prepare a delegation. Myself, Science Officer Lumen, Cultural Specialist Mira, and 2 security officers. We will meet these humans and learn their true nature. As the Novan shuttle departed from the Eternal Seeker toward the waiting human vessel, Vela couldn't help but wonder what kind of evolutionary path produced beings that built ships designed for battle as a primary function. What kind of history shaped a species that organized itself into military fleets and patrolled empty sectors of space? She would soon find out, for better or worse. The Cerberus loomed larger as they approached, a dark, angular shape against the starfield. Up close, the damage to its hull was even more apparent. Scorched sections, impact craters, and hastily repaired breaches. This ship had seen combat, survived, and continued its mission. As their shuttle was guided into a landing bay, Vela prepared herself to meet these warriors from Earth, these humans who built ships for war. Whatever happened next would undoubtedly change the Novan understanding of the galaxy forever. The revelation. The landing bay of the Cerberus was a stark contrast to the organic, flowing architecture of Novan vessels. Everything here was utilitarian: metal floors, equipment secured against walls, and multiple small craft that Science Officer Lumen quietly identified as combat shuttles based on their design. A group of humans awaited them, standing in formation. Captain Chen stepped forward as the Novan delegation disembarked, extending his upper limb in what their cultural briefing identified as a greeting gesture called a handshake. "Welcome aboard the Cerberus, High Commander Vela," Chen said, his translated voice maintaining a neutral tone. "This is my executive officer, Commander Sarah Torres, Chief Engineer Kazuo Tanaka, and Security Chief George Mendez." Vela matched the gesture, surprised by the firmness of Chen's grip. "We are honored by your welcome, Captain. Allow me to introduce Science Officer Lumen, Cultural Specialist Mira, and our security attaches Dren and Sorva." "Your timing is fortunate," Chen remarked as he guided them from the landing bay. "We're between patrol rotations. 2 weeks ago, this meeting wouldn't have been possible." "You encountered difficulties?" Vela inquired carefully. "A Criteri raiding party. 3 vessels. Nothing the Cerberus couldn't handle." The casual reference to combat that would have destroyed an entire Novan exploration fleet left the delegation momentarily speechless. Vela's skin flickered with patterns of distress before she regained composure. "Your ship shows signs of damage. Were there casualties?" she finally asked. A shadow passed over Chen's face, the first clear emotional signal they had detected. 17 crew lost. 28 injured. We held a memorial service yesterday. Yet you continue your mission despite such losses, Cultural Specialist Mira observed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Of course," Chen replied, genuine confusion in his voice. "That's what we do. We continue." As they moved through the ship, the differences between their cultures became increasingly apparent. The corridors were narrow and efficient, with every centimeter serving a purpose. Where Novan vessels contained meditation gardens and communal harmony spaces, the Cerberus housed weapon stations, redundant systems, and what Chief Engineer Tanaka called battle damage control centers. They passed a wall covered with small metal objects and images of humans. "Our memorial wall," Chen explained softly. "Every crew member lost since the Cerberus was commissioned. We carry them with us." "This is your first vessel?" Lumen asked. "My first command," Chen corrected. "The Cerberus has had 3 captains before me. I've served on 7 different ships over 20 years. "All warships?" Vela inquired. 5 combat vessels, 2 exploratory. All UEF ships are armed, regardless of primary function. The engineering deck revealed technology that was both primitive and ingenious. The Novans used clean quantum resonance drives, but the humans relied on a massive fusion reactor that Chief Engineer Tanaka described with unmistakable pride. "She's got attitude," Tanaka explained, patting the enormous machine. "But she's never failed us, even when we pushed her to 130% during the Shard Collective ambush at Deneb. Your technology appears to prioritize durability over efficiency," Lumen observed. "In combat, reliability matters more than elegance," Tanaka replied with a shrug. "A beautiful ship that breaks is just beautiful debris." Security Chief Mendez led them to what he called the armory, a room filled with various weapons, the Novans had never imagined. Every crew member, they learned, was trained in basic combat operations, even medical staff. Is this necessary for space exploration? Cultural specialist Mira asked, her skin pattern showing deep discomfort. Mendez exchanged a look with Captain Chen before answering. In our experience, yes. The tour concluded on the bridge, a compact, efficient command center where crew members worked at stations designed for quick access and communication. Unlike the spacious, contemplative command centers of Novan ships, every element here served a purpose. This is where we make our decisions, High Commander, Chen said. Not as beautiful as your ship, I imagine, but functional. It is impressive in its efficiency, Vela replied diplomatically. Though I wonder, Captain Chen, why a species would design all vessels with such military capability. The bridge fell silent. Chen considered the question carefully before answering. High Commander, Earth's history is long and often violent. When we reached for the stars, we carried that history with us. Our first contact with another species, the Creteri, was nearly our last. We learned quickly that the galaxy can be dangerous. Yet you continue to explore despite these dangers. Because of these dangers, Chen replied with a small smile. Humans are curious by nature. We want to see what's out there. But we're not naive. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alarm. The bridge erupted into activity as crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their stations. Unidentified vessels approaching from Sector 5, reported a crew member. 3 signatures. Configuration matches Creteri Scout class. Chen's demeanor changed instantly. The diplomatic host vanished, replaced by a commanding officer. Red alert. Shields up. Weapons on standby. Inform our guest's vessel to power down and remain in position. Vela watched in astonishment as the bridge transformed. Displays shifted to tactical readouts, lighting dimmed, and additional crew arrived at auxiliary stations. Captain, Vela began, perhaps we should return to our shuttle. No time. Chen cut her off. The Creteri would target your shuttle. You're safer here behind our shields. On the main viewer, 3 vessels appeared, sleek, predatory shapes moving in formation. They're scanning us, reported a crew member. And the Novan vessel. Let them look, Chen replied calmly. But if they make any aggressive moves toward the Eternal Seeker, show them our teeth. The lead ship is hailing us, came another report. On screen, the viewer changed to show a reptilian face with vertical pupils and scaled skin. UEF vessel, you are in disputed territory. Your presence violates the Treaty of Proxima. Explain yourself. Commander Stak, Chen addressed the Creteri. The treaty allows for patrol activities. We are well within our rights. The Creteri commander's eyes narrowed. And the alien vessel, under our protection. The Novan Confederation is conducting a diplomatic exchange with Earth. Any action against them will be considered an act of war against the UEF. Vela's skin paled. Protection. War. They had barely met these humans, and now Captain Chen was threatening conflict on their behalf. The Creteri commander seemed equally surprised. You claim protection rights over an unknown species. I do. A tense silence followed before the Creteri spoke again.